the White House actively coerced every major social media platform in America. Let me say that again. Every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about speech on the COVID-19 pandemic, speech on the 2022 congressional elections, speech related to mask mandates, speech related to vaccines. What did the White House do? Well, over a period of years, they met with, on a regular basis, the leaders of social media companies and demanded that the speech they did not like be taken down. They further demanded that these same social media companies amplify the White House's speech. Amazing. So take down all of this speech that we don't like, amplify our own speech. Unbelievable. What kind of speech are we talking about?
I found out last night from Twitter staff that you suppressed my account for this tweet. It's a freaking joke about Hillary Clinton being angry that she couldn't rig her election. It's a joke. But in response, being the sinister overlords that you all are, you placed a 90-day account filter so I could not be found. And now we see here that Twitter staff said the visibility filter on my account excluded me from top searches, prevented notifications for non-followers, and much more. This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are? Election interference? Yeah, I would say that that was taking place because of you four sitting here. The Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed. A sitting member of Congress was suppressed. A sitting president was banned from Twitter.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment.
Kamala Harris in 2019 repeatedly called for Trump to be banned from Twitter and from every other social media platform. And she said that those platforms need to be regulated.
I find it extremely alarming Twitter's unfettered censorship spread into medical fields and affected millions of Americans by suppressing expert opinions from doctors and censoring those who disagree with the CDC.
And I thought that YouTube, and Senator Pichai made it very clear when he was in congressional hearings in the U.S., he said he wasn't going to allow anything to go on YouTube that contradicted Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
And that seemed to set the tone for what mainstream media covered.
No one was ever punished for COVID, when it turns out the vaccines didn't do what they thought they were, what they told us they were going to do, when the lockdowns hurt more people than they helped, when Fauci was caught lying about virtually everything. Not one person was punished.
Democrats, the mob, and the media no longer care about facts. They don't care about logic. The only thing they seem to care about, is narrative and power. And as George Orwell famously wrote, quote, "Whatever the party holds to be the truth is the truth."
I'm not going to spend all night with you talking about the last 90 minutes when I've been watching the last 3.5 years of performance.
You don't turn your back because of one performance. What kind of party does that?
It's not just that they knew about Biden's condition and lied about it. They knew that they were lying, and they believed they could dupe their supporters at least through November 5th. 2024. Now we're faced with the fact that the very same people who last month insisted that Biden was at the top of his game have now shoved him into some Delaware basement again and are sporting Harris 24 sweatshirts. How are we supposed to believe anything they say?
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment.
2021, President Biden taps Kamala Harris to lead effort to close digital divide. The White House released their remarks by President Biden in address to a joint session of Congress. And in the process, it will create thousands and thousands of good-paying jobs. It creates jobs connecting every American with high-speed internet, including 35% of the rural America that still doesn't have it. This is going to help our kids and our businesses succeed in the 21st century economy. And I'm asking the Vice President to lead this effort, if she would. Vice President replied, "Of course." The President said, "Because I know it will get done." Now, fast forward to 2024. Here's the headlines. Why has Joe Biden's $42 billion broadband program not connected one single household? Maybe it's because, this is also in the headlines, that Harris announces plans to help 80% of Africa gain access to the internet, up from 40% now. Talk about a policy failure. Talk about not delivering results to the American people. Spending $42 billion, yet not having one household connected to the internet. Mr. Carr, is that actually true? Not one home got internet?
That's correct. In Georgia alone, there's about 257,000 homes and businesses that lack internet today.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment.
That households are now spending more than $11,400 more each year to maintain the same quality of life as they did in January of 2021. You did an entire hearing on the impact of the Biden-Harris proposals. Why did you do this hearing?
Because the mainstream media is not covering this. I mean, if you want to look at what Kamala Harris's vision of the future is, because she won't present a plan, she doesn't have any policy, then you have to look at her past record. And her past record is nothing but a record of disappointments for the American people.
Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety.
It's pretty much shoot on sight when they see the opposition. And a lot of times innocent people are caught in the middle of it.
So it's just young kids just kind of doing whatever they want. And it's any idea they come up with, they get other people on board and they just go do random crazy things.
The career criminal who had 31 prior arrests on the night he killed Arroyo also read his own statement right before he learned his fate. He asked for forgiveness, saying, quote, "I was intoxicated. I never knew what was going on. I never meant to hurt anyone."
It's been getting worse, you know, and I know the mayor's trying to do something, you know, he can do but so much, but we definitely need more help. Absolutely.
It was bad in the 90s with the crack. And now, these kids just ain't listening. They ain't going to school.
This data on drug overdose deaths in New York City shows they're at unprecedented high levels, increasing in 2021 by 78% from 2019. The city health department says about 80% were due to fentanyl.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment.
We know our immigration system is broken, and we know what it takes to fix it.
Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
It's just amazing stuff. When you've got an administration failing to secure the borders despite the fact people with links to terrorism are coming into the country, and moreover, they're threatening Border Patrol that they must cover it up, how is that not treason?
Well, you should know, for one thing, that you just covered this story probably about 50% more than our major news outlets. We are in the midst of an election that's taking place in a complete bubble of non-information, whereas anything that Trump does or says that can be taken out of context in the worst possible way this actual story that the Biden-Harris administration not only let terrorists flow through our open borders, but then covered it up, which in any other election year, in any other time, in any sane country would be a major, major scandal, which shows the disdain that this administration has for America and the American people. And this story is being buried completely. We're living in a very, very dangerous moment, an information crisis, I've called it for quite some time, when the desperation to hold on to the transmission of information has caused the news media to collapse. We don't really have a news media. All we have is Elon Musk's X, on which people can send information back and forth.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here today because I want to talk about kind of the global free speech issues that are happening right now. The CEO of Telegram taken into custody, and now X, formerly, of course, known as Twitter, has been banned in Brazil. A judge there ordering the immediate and complete suspension of the platform until they comply with all these different orders. And they were very concerned about their staff and also very concerned about the politics involved here, that the judge was using power going after political opponents, and that this ultimately is a big attack on free speech. This is what Elon Musk actually tweeted or wrote on X. X is the most used news source in Brazil. It is what the people want. Now the tyrant de Voldemort is crushing the people's right to free speech. That, of course, a reference to the judge.
Well, we're here today to rain on the WHO's parade as they march for power. I think the WHO, if we were here about 6 months ago, similar press conference prior to their June meeting in Geneva, where they tried to gain international support for their pandemic accord, which they did not do. And I'm becoming convinced that the WHO thinks that the rest of us have brain fog from COVID, and they're just going to keep trying this over and over again. But the facts do not change. This is a global power grab. And when you look at the various aspects that this would touch, in particular that have been touched on, that are very concerning, is their focus on so-called disinformation. What we recently saw in Brazil with X is a prime example of what governments would be doing, being empowered by the WHO's pandemic accord, calling on governments to silence and censor dissenting voices. You know, in America, we cherish the First Amendment. We cherish our freedom, and we cherish our families. Both are endangered under this pandemic accord.